All right, good. Welcome. It is Andor Wednesday.
Andor Wednesday.
Yeah.
We call it Ands Day for short.
Ands Day?
It's Ands Day. That doesn't sound very good, does it?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to stick.
No, that's not going to stick.
So this week's episode, we got insane breaking Star Wars news. Space cereal exists.
With blue milk.
With blue milk. So those
Yes.
that Bantha milk farm is sending it right across the galaxy to Coruscant.
Yeah, they are not picky whether you're Rebellion, Empire. All they want to do is spread the nutrition of Bantha milk.
Yeah. He's going, he's just failed at his job. He's going back to mom's house and he's going to slurp back a bowl of cereal.
I mean, sometimes
all
you need is some Fruit Loops.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it did look like a nice Fruit Loopy Trix type of sugary cereal. So he's really wallowing here and mulling over what he's going to do with his life. So let's start there with the cereal.
okay.
Who do you think Uncle Harlow?
Uncle Harlow.
Something like that? Yeah. So he's pulling in a favor, and by all intents and purposes, it sounds like Uncle is a powerful person with a lot of reach. What do you think his what do you think he dabbles in? Like what kind of position do you think he's going to get? Our man, what's his name again? Karn?
Mercenary?
I can't see. I think it's for some reason I think he's going to end up with Mon Mothma, like in like a political role. That's just my outside the box guess. Like that's how he's going to connect into the story. Like he's still showing he has his little holocron.
Oh,
Cassian.
he is.
He got the hard on for taking him down. So
yeah, I mean he is extremely butthurt. Like he put everything into this. And even like his mom, who by the way is about as emotional as a droid. I mean, she even talks about how that failure was a substantial blowing it when she is not warm at all.
She had a good line I kind of like. She said, "We all know an open invitation is no invitation at all."
So true.
I know, so true. Anyone who tells me, "Oh, come over whenever you want," doors always open, I'll never go over there. You need to legit text me, call me, and say, "Hey, would you like to come over for a beer and watch the game?" You know what I mean? I'm not just going to, show up. Never.
Yeah, and that was kind of a gut check because I'm the person that leaves open invitations. Like I'm guilty of this, but I don't think that it's that I don't want them to see it. But I don't want them to come over. But I mean, I guess there are times when maybe that is the case.
It's a nice thing to say, but
it is.
Yeah, back in the day, I feel like people would just pop in all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Like I find that type of, behavior in this more, introvert society we're growing up in, people don't do that anymore. It's like, what are you doing just showing up at my house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like, it needs to be planned out. So we got a little bit of lines there. For the most part, this is really just a setup episode, and it kind of goes into my one minor complaint last week in that with how slow of a burn and setup-y these are going to be. Again, I wouldn't even call this a filler. This is like setting up to the heist. I wish we would get all three kind of in a row or almost. And again, if I wasn't doing reviews for these, I didn't have to watch it day of. It'd probably almost be better to be consumed in 3 episode pieces, maybe.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, because it literally picks up exactly where it left off. It's obviously one cohesive story that's kind of chopped up. And again, that's not Andor's fault. That's just the way Disney's chosen to release things. It works better with the Mandalorian because they're like one-off stories. It's like, well, I got to go to this planet. I got to fetch something. I'm going to have a conflict. It's kind of neat, tidy, move on to the next one as you build towards the overall story. This one is just one long strung out story.
Yeah. It is.
And I think and again, I'm almost setting it up kind of like how we were talking with House of Dragon. If it was all the episodes combined versus just one, the review scores are going to be a little bit different. You know what I mean? If we were reviewing this last week, this week, and looks like next week's together, I bet you I'd feel a lot more different about it than what I did this one. But it is what it is. The other thing I thought was interesting, as far as like Easter eggs and like kind of more mysterious things behind things, they make a point to really show Buddy's tattoos. And he's like, I see you staring at him. You know what this is. The others don't. So the first one was the crate head, which I don't get at all. Like, it's a barcode and a crate head's a dragon. I don't know if there's other meaning there. I've looked around the internet. I couldn't find really anything, related to that. Maybe it's like, I don't know.
Like a prison thing?
Yeah, prison thing, a gang thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the other one they said was by the hand, and it's a symbol. And the hand in Star Wars is used to refer to a few things. Like, one, there's the Emperor's hand, which is Mara Jade. It's like the Emperor's secret Sith assassin and stuff like that. It's definitely not that. I don't think he's a Sith assassin. No, he wasn't a thing. But there's also the Empire of the Hand, which is basically just the Empire. And it was Thrawn was exploring, the unknown regions and stuff like that, and was basically spreading the Empire through like minor camps. So maybe that's like a mark of maybe he was on some backwater planet to begin with that Thrawn maybe had occupied, or Thrawn's forces.
Yeah.
And he was kind of marked. They were talking about being caged and stuff. Maybe he was marked, imprisoned by the Empire on his pepper tree farm, right? So maybe, again, we talked about what Imperial officers, ISB officers, might make it into the show, and we thought Thrawn would obviously be a cool, tie-in, because again, not everyone's read the Star Wars books, and not a lot of people have watched Rebels. So I feel like to get a little bit more of a Thrawn reference or build up to obviously the big moment they're building into in the Mandoverse, would be cool. So maybe, I don't know if they're going to flesh out this, by the hand a little bit more. Is it actually anything to do with Thrawn? Who knows? We'll find out. But maybe it was just, that's all we get of it, right? Maybe it's just a little reference they toss out there, and, do with it as you may. Other than that, everything was kind of by the numbers. They ran through what there
was no dinner.
That's what I was going to ask you. So they're coming back in the Rolls Royce. Like, are they talking about the dinner that they just went to? Like,
but I thought the dinner was at their house.
Yeah, and they obviously weren't at their house. They were out. So maybe the dinner didn't happen. Maybe they were at some other function. Because he was talking about charity or a foundation or something like that. They were definitely at the charity thing. So that's her daughter when they're at the breakfast table. Yeah. And it's interesting because she makes a comment that we know that you're involved. Is that them saying they know that she's involved, like, in the rebellion? Because she's trying to force her daughter out. And she's like, no, we made plans to do this. And her daughter's like, well, it's way out of your way. Don't worry. Dad'll take me. And she's like, no, the driver's ready. And she makes a comment like it's okay. You can go. We know you're involved. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Does that mean... does that mean that they know that she's involved in this? And then if that's the case, then why would the husband want to have that other person who you keep referring to for dinner? Like, very odd. Yeah, my guess is I don't think it has anything to do with her rebellion. I think that is like top secret to the vest. Maybe she's just way too busy with work. Maybe, all of her and her friends are like, if we just want to use politics, right, are like left wingers and she's a right winger, or vice versa, whatever you want to say. Like, maybe she leans the other way and everyone's like, oh, she's the one who's always fighting in the Senate and causing a ruckus, and it's like kind of cringe when Mon Mothma comes around. I don't know. Maybe it's something like that. But her home life isn't so rosy, and that's probably we're seeing some cracks in her character, right? She's not this shining leader of the rebellion. Like, she's under immense tension starting a rebellion. I don't think she truly knows. She might not even truly knows what's going to happen. Like, does she know what Cassian and Luthen are planning right now? Like, that operation going on? Like, how into the details actually is she, other than funding it and talking about other things with leaders? Yeah, so I think she's going to get a taste of it real soon on how real it is. and then trying to balance that with, being a politician, a mom, and, apparently her husband wants nothing to do with her either. So
yeah, there's not really a lot of warmth there for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting story they're carving out here for our faithful rebel leader. But yeah, so hopefully we get the dinner scene. Hopefully that wasn't skipped. Hopefully it is the next episode. Considering next episode is like the big heist conflict, they obviously are going to offset that with shots in Coruscant. So maybe the dinner is the, its twin counterpart of conflict. Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be neat to see it back and forth as she's battling at the dinner table. They're performing this heist. I mean, I think that'd be a very cool way. Because I'll be honest, I know we're not anywhere near kind of rating this yet. I was pretty underwhelmed by this episode. So my hope is that they're taking this to build to the next one, and we're gonna have that offset of a political battle at the dinner table. I always forget that person who we keep referring to at the
Slymore. Yeah,
that's right. My hope is we're gonna get those offsetting moments in the next episode.
Yeah, it was, I think last week was set up too, but I think it was so jam-packed with references and Easter eggs. I think some people probably, I don't want to say overreacted to all the tidbits, but like it probably brought their feelings of the episode up, whereas this one was kind of lacking a lot of those bonus nuggets.
Minus the blue milk. I
mean,
blue milk is the best Easter egg ever.
I will say though, the shot of that TIE fighter ripping through the valley was cool. Like you'll always get like an extra little bonus point for me if you go and stuff like that.
The hairs on your arm stand up as it
you just
wings by at low altitude. I mean, that is. Yeah. I'm surprised that there were no shots fired by the TIE fighter. I mean, those lands are pretty barren. They talk about how they've wiped people off those lands. I'm surprised that any human movement wouldn't be reported back.
Well, there's still some locals, right? Like farmers and stuff like that living.
Fair.
So they said most have gone into the Imperial settlements, and there's just a few people holding on to tradition. So I think they're posing as like farmers and stuff like that. That's why they're kind of off. But if they had showed guns, right? If those guns were seen, that TIE fighter makes another pass and vaporizes them.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So other than that, just more or less just a setup for next week's big finale of this little arc. Again, not the series finale, just this little storyline we're in. We know it's going to involve the big, atmospheric display, and Cassian's flying the shuttle. We've seen all that in the trailer, so all those scenes, I believe, are coming from next week's episode. So let's grade this thing. I'll go first. I'm like probably a 7-8.
Yeah, I'm probably a 7.5. My favorite part about the whole episode is super cheesy, other than the blue milk. I liked that after the Kyber is exposed on Cassian, he comes clean with the fact that he is
a calculated risk. He was told not to say anything, and you know what? He's like, I think the group needs some sort of trust.
And then the other guy kind of opens up to him a little bit, and he's like, that's as close an apology as you'll get. Like, I liked that moment because that needs to bridge a little. Yeah. But I was 7.5. It was good. But
yeah, it's just some character development and setup, and that's really all we got. And like I was saying earlier, if next week's episode is bananas, which I think it will be, if you combine that with these two previous and treat it as a 3-episode arc, I probably look a lot more favorably upon it. But
I agree.
When we're only getting this 30 minutes, that's all we could do.
Yep.
All right, everyone. So has you got anything else?
No, that's it.
I think nice and tidy this week. So
looking forward to next week.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments, everyone. Did we miss any bonus Easter eggs in this one? Was there anything else we should have been focusing on? Let us know how you felt about this week, or if you agree it was a little bit slower and stepped down. And we await next week's explosive episode.
Love it.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.